What's up, YouTube? Today we're gonna check and react to stories animated. So we're gonna be like 2 horror story animated. Never see these 2 ones before. I see few ones like in the couple months ago. So these 2 ones is brand new. So we're gonna check this together. If you like this type of content, like reaction videos, don't forget to subscribe, drop a like, and turn on notifications to receive the next video. Don't forget to comment what you think about the video and the reaction, and which videos you want me to react. Post the name here in the comments and I will check out. So without further ado, let's check these 2 stories. Let's check out the story.
I'm not much of a storyteller, so bear with
They're
me.
better than the house story.
During the 90s, I went through a very rough time in my life. After a failed marriage, I became a bit of a nomad, wandering across country on foot with no particular destination. It was a stupid idea, but I was in a very hopeless place back then, and just looking to experience something new. I've been traveling down South Dakota and hitched a ride with a truck driver into Nebraska. For those of you who have never been to that state, there are large sections of land that go on for
cornfield place, I hate it.
Cornfields lining either side of the road.
Never good.
We split ways at a rest stop, and I made my way into what I now know to be the Sand Hills of Nebraska. The Sand Hills region is one of the most isolated areas in the United States. 20,000 square miles of nothing but dunes and prairies. I planned on hitchhiking my way to the nearest town and catching a bus to visit a friend I had in Omaha. But I found out the hard way that this stretch of road was not ideal for hitchhiking. I barely saw any cars going down this road, and the ones that did completely ignored me. 12 hours had passed, and I was running low on food and water. I was utterly exhausted at this point, and I needed to find a place to rest for a while. I had about an hour left of daylight. Lucky for me, I happened to come upon an old farmhouse that was situated about a half-mile away from the main road. From a distance, I thought this place may have been occupied, but when I got closer, it was clear to me that this house was abandoned. This was around the fall, so weather in Nebraska wasn't terrible. However, the nights were a bit on the cold side, so I decided to hold up in this house for the night and continue my journey the next day. I had enough supplies to last me one more night. The house was your typical rotting husk. Smelled like mold, severe water damage, creaking floors, etc. The living room seemed to be the only decent place to settle down at, so I unpacked my sleeping bag and eventually dozed off. I woke up to the sound of
this show
floorboards
freaked me out so bad, I have no idea.
I immediately sat up and listened. I could hear several pairs of footsteps thudding all around the house. They were coming from upstairs, downstairs, on the back porch outside, and even in the same room with me. But I didn't see a thing. I quickly got to my feet and walked over to the nearest window and peered out. What I saw was truly alarming and sent a wave of nausea through my entire body. Several cloaked figures were standing side by side. They appeared to be encircling the house. Because of the footsteps I heard, I thought there may have been people in the house with me. So in an effort to defuse things, I made another big brain decision and spoke up. Hello? I'm sorry if I'm trespassing. I was just looking for a place to rest for the night. I thought this place was abandoned. Again, I'm sorry. All the footsteps
I would never do that.
once.
Holy shit.
An eerie silence followed. It was so quiet that I could have heard a mouse shitting in the corner. I got this real bad feeling in my gut, so I reached into my backpack and pulled out my hunting knife. I gathered the rest of my things and slowly moved out into the hallway. Aside from the mysterious figures outside, I was also thinking of what was making those footsteps inside the house. As I said, I heard several footsteps when I woke up, so I figured it wouldn't be long before I ran into someone inside the house. But after combing the entire downstairs, I didn't see or hear anything. I could tell something was very off. That bad feeling I mentioned earlier intensified, despite the fact that I knew there was a bunch of weirdos in cloaks waiting for me outside. Something told
Holy
me
shit.
that if I didn't leave the house that very moment,
No,
something terrible was going to happen to me. The house was located in a wide open clearing. Beyond the clearing was a barrier of tall grass. When I left through the front door, I stopped directly in front of the house. No matter which direction I looked, I saw another hooded menace blocking my way. I suddenly felt this heat on my back. I quickly turned around. I cannot explain how this happened. Moments before, I was inside that house, walking around.
The house on fire now?
I backed away. I decided that I was going to run through the figures and get the hell out of Dodge. But when I turned back around, the figures were nowhere in sight. Things were getting way too bizarre for me at that point. The only thing I knew for sure was that I had to get the fuck out of that place. When I got back out to the main road, I didn't stop walking until I finally got to a town, whose name I can't remember. The rest of my time in Nebraska went well, and I got my life together shortly after I got back home from my trip. As long as I live, I'll never forget that old farmhouse and those mysterious cloaked figures. This incident still baffles me to this day, but perhaps some things are best left unanswered.
That was oh shit. To think that I am the psychopath?
Have you guys experienced this before? Of course, I can tell you that I'm a very normal person. However, I felt like I'm a psychopath when I was very young. Whenever I talk about this, it feels like I'm talking about someone else, but it's definitely my memory. Let me tell you some of my childhood memories. I'm going to start my first story lightly. My mom said that when I was young, I would often pick up a few worms from the ground, bring them home, and divide them into a few pieces with a shovel. Secondly, I dimly remember it, but after fighting with my sister, I always couldn't hold back my anger. So I used to walk around with a blade cutter to make a rattling sound, putting the blade up and down.
What the fuck?
My third story is, just when I learned walking around, I happily went to greet my second sister bringing a knife when she came home. That's what my mom said to me too. She said I especially liked knives when I was young, and I don't know why. The fourth
I
story,
remember the parents, bro. Like,
one day my
okay,
mom went to
you're
the
you're
bathroom
you're
to
good to
take a
go. You're good to
shower,
go.
leaving me alone in the living room.
Holy shit!
As I was a little child back then, I was watching TV, and there was a scene about a doctor who was doing surgery. And I guess I wanted to copy his motion with the same way. So I stabbed myself in the stomach with a knife a little bit. My mom came out of the bathroom at the same time, and of course she was very surprised and even shocked. She took me to the emergency room that day. I had a slight surgical scar on my stomach until when I was in elementary school, so that can be a proof that it's a literally true story. The fifth,
What the
I recently found
fuck?
an album in the wardrobe a few days ago. The pictures were mainly about me and my mom. However, some of my mom's pictures in the album were kind of weird. It's like her eyes were cut out as someone had purposely pierced it. "Hey Mom, what's wrong with these pictures?" I asked her. And she answered, "When you were a kid, you would always get angry and pierce my eyes on every picture of me whenever you argued with me." My mom in those pictures was smiling pretty when she was young, but I've ruined all of them. I felt really sorry. When I wrote down like this, I thought I was crazy or something, seriously. But when I was talking with my
What?
mom about the past, I didn't believe that I did it. And finally, the last story is the main point of why I had to write this. Because this is the one that only I remember, and which is that my mom will never know. I still don't know why. Anyway, I was in elementary
look like
school at
Dora.
the time. One day around 3 p.m., my mom came back from work and fell asleep on the couch. And like a psycho in a thriller movie, I grabbed a big knife in the kitchen and slowly approached my mom. I went right in front of her and just stood there, staring at her for a long time. At this time, I felt like it was me doing this, but on the other hand, it was not me. Then I remember that she twisted a little, as if she was going to wake up. and being surprised, I put the knife back in place. This story is a secret that I can never tell my mom, no matter how much time goes by. Pretty goosebumps, huh? But there's something even more creepy. Not long ago, my mom told me about her childhood story with her grandmother. And turned out, she once stood behind my grandma's back holding a knife when she was a little kid, like me. But when Grandma turned around and asked my mom what she was holding there, she finally recovered her consciousness, and she put the knife back in the kitchen. You see, it's a very similar story to mine.
What the
Of course,
fuck?
she never knows what I
Like
did
the
that
mother
day.
passed
She just
through
told me her story
the
accidentally.
daughter?
Don't you guys think it's a creepy?
It
I'm
is
just
creepy.
wondering if the psychopath's temperament is the reason of genetics influence.
This was like the two stories we just check out, guys. Like the girl is kind of creepy, so I don't know. Normally we have like a kid's creepy. I'm not sure about it. Imagine like you adopt the kids and the kids like you wake up in the middle of the night to the restroom and you have a kid with a knife or like a screwdriver in front of your bed. That's kind of creepy. So if you always have kids around, I'm sure like something's going on. But if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, drop a like, comment on what I think about the video, and if you want to check out other videos, drop the name or the link below in the comments and I will check out. Don't forget to turn on notifications for receive the next videos coming soon. Okay, thanks for everybody watching. I hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you in the next video.